Hi children, I am going to start a new lesson and the title of the lesson is Disaster Management. You might have learned this topic even in your biology. Now let us start. India, it has a huge population and also it is having unique geographical features. And because of this huge population and unique geographical features, it is one of the world's most disaster-prone countries. And natural hazards such as cyclones, earthquakes, droughts, floods, or landslides, these are all called natural hazards. Due to nature, these are caused. And these types of natural hazards, they occur in different parts of the country. Of course, the intensity differs from place to place, but they occur in different parts of the country. The east and southeast, for example, the east and southeast part of India, they are frequently affected by cyclones in Bay of Bengal. And in the interior parts of the plateau or in the Himalayan region, earthquakes occur frequently. And in Ganga-Brahmaputra basin, Brahmaputra plains or basin, floods occur frequently. Floods are most common in this Ganga-Brahmaputra. And Rajasthan, it is a drought-prone state. And Rayalaseema in Andhra Pradesh, Rayalaseema and Anantapur, these are drought-prone districts, and they often experience severe drought conditions. So we can say that north, south, east or west, all these areas they experience some or other type of natural hazards. Maybe the intensity varies from place to place. And if people are not prepared for these hazards, the damage caused due to these hazards increases. And then it becomes a disaster. People living in an area may be vulnerable to more than one hazard. Sometimes people who are living in coastal areas, they may have to face the floods and also the cyclones. And such areas or zones, they are called as multi-hazard zones. Where more than one hazard takes place or occurs, those areas are called multi-hazard zones. And if a hazard occurs or takes place, if we are aware of that, we will take necessary steps to prevent it, or we will be very careful to avoid more damage. But if we are not aware of it, if we don't have any knowledge that it is going to occur, that means suddenly it occurs, then the damage increases. When people are not prepared to face the disaster or hazard, the damage caused due to that hazard increases. And in such a case, the hazard becomes a disaster. For example, the flood. We don't know when the river will flood. And during floods, if unexpectedly floods come, what will happen? Many people, homes, houses, cattle, and many valuable things also are flown away in the flooded river. So it becomes a disaster. If the damage caused due to a hazard increases, when we are not prepared for it, then it turns into a disaster. Now let us see the types of disasters. Disasters can be categorized into various types based on the speed, origin and cause. Now let us see, based on speed, a disaster can be termed as slow or rapid. Slow onset disaster, rapid onset disaster. Slow onset disaster means a disaster that prevails for many days, months or even years. Like drought, we cannot say when it occurs, how long it is going to prevail, we don't know. Environmental degradation, there is no end. Pest infection, famines, all these are slow onset disasters and they may prevail for many days or months or even years. These are called slow onset disasters. And rapid onset disasters means a disaster that is triggered by an instance and it causes shock. If suddenly something happens, suppose the earth on which you are standing, it has tremors, then we will get shock. It causes shock to us. And the impact of this disaster may be short-lived or long-term. And such disasters are called rapid onset disasters. Earthquakes, cyclones, flash floods, volcanic eruptions. These are some examples of rapid onset disasters. And based on the cause, disaster can be either natural or human induced. Natural hazards, already we know what are those natural disasters. So earthquakes, cyclones, floods, droughts, tsunamis, landslides, volcanoes, all these are called as natural disasters. A natural disaster is an event that is caused by nature, and it leads to loss of human beings, material loss, economic and environmental losses. All type of losses occur due to natural disasters. And the second one is human-induced disasters, a serious disruption of normal life. If a hazard is caused due to human activities, that is called as human-induced disaster, and it seriously disrupts the normal life of the human beings. And also it leads to material loss, economic and environmental losses, and these losses, they exceed the ability of the affected people to cope up with the losses. That means the affected people, they cannot cope up with the losses which occur due to these human-induced disasters. Some examples are Bhopal gas tragedy which took place in 1984 due to leakage of poisonous gas from the company. In 1997, Upahar Cinema fire in Delhi, Rajdhani Express train derailment in 2002, Kumbakonam school fire tragedy in 2003. These are some of the examples for human-induced disasters. Now, what is disaster management? Disaster management includes the activities which are designed to have control over the disaster or emergency situations and to provide a plan to help people to avoid or reduce the effects of disaster. Either people can avoid or they can reduce the effects of disaster, after effects of the disaster. Such plans are provided. Activities or plans which are designed to avoid or reduce the effects of disaster. This is called disaster management. And or to recover from the impact of a disaster also, these plans or activities help. And these activities are related to preparedness. Either due to preparedness we can avoid it or we can reduce the losses, emergency response, relief and recovery. And these may be done before, during or after the disaster also. And this is called as disaster management. Now, tsunami. What are tsunamis? The term tsunami, it is coined from Japanese word. It is derived from a Japanese word, su, meaning harbor, and nami means waves. Harbor waves. Tsunamis are huge waves generated by earthquakes, volcanic eruptions, or underwater landslides. And which these huge waves which are generated, they devastate coastal areas, or the people who are living in coastal areas, they get much damages. They experience much damages. Tsunamis caused by nearby earthquakes may reach the coast within minutes. They reach the coast and they devastate the coastal areas. And when the waves enter shallow water, they may rise to several feet, or in some rare cases, tens of feet also they rise. And they strike the coast with devastating force. And that is why damage occurred due to tsunamis is more and more. The tsunami danger period can continue for many hours after a major earthquake. Now, here is a graphic representation of tsunami waves. A tsunami consists of a series of waves, and the first wave may not be the largest. Remember it, the first wave may not be the largest. The danger from subsequent tsunami waves can last for many hours after the arrival of the first wave. The danger, still there is danger from the subsequent tsunami waves because they can last for many hours after the arrival of the first wave. And tsunami can move at 50 kilometers per hour on coastal plain, faster than a person can run. And thirdly, tsunamis can occur at any time of day or night. Now, what to do before tsunami? First of all, find out if your home in which you are living, or school or workplace, wherever you are, if it is a tsunami hazard prone area or not. And if it is tsunami hazard prone area, you have to plan how to evacuate that place. Evacuation route you have to plan. And you have to practice this evacuation route also once, because you are taking these steps before tsunami. So, first Find out if your home, school or workplace is within the tsunami hazard prone area or not. And if it is within the hazard prone area, then plan how to evacuate that place. Evacuation route must be planned first, and then practice this route once, and have disaster supplies on hand. Have disaster supplies in your hand, and then discuss about these tsunamis with your family members also, so that all will be having awareness about the tsunamis. And what to do during a tsunami. If you are at home and if you hear about a tsunami warning, you have to make sure that your entire family is aware of the warning. And then your entire family has to evacuate the house if you are living in a tsunami prone area. You have to go to a safe elevated area and move in an orderly manner, calmly, quietly you move. Don't be in a rush or don't be in a hurry. Without any confusion, in an orderly way, you move to the other place. To some other safe elevated areas you have to move. Take your disaster supplies kit along with you. If it is there with you, it will be more comfortable during the evacuation. If you need any first aid and all, you can do it immediately. And if you evacuate, take your animals also with you. And if you are at the beach or near the ocean and you feel the earth shake, move immediately to higher ground. Do not wait for tsunami warning. Immediately you move to the elevated areas. Stay away from rivers and streams that lead to the oceans. And high multi-story reinforced concrete buildings like hotels, etc., they are located in many low-lying coastal areas, and the upper floors are more safe. In such hotels and buildings, upper floors are more safe. Offshore reefs and shallow areas, they may help break the force of the tsunami waves. And staying away from low-lying coastal areas is the safest advice when there is a tsunami warning. As soon as you come to know of the tsunami warning, immediately move to a safe place. Stay away from the low-lying coastal areas. Go to an elevated area and keep updated yourself. Be in touch with the radio or TV news and be updated with the emergency information or warning announced on radio or television. From time to time, be updated. And what to do after tsunami? Be connected to a radio or TV for updating yourself about tsunami situation. And the tsunami might have damaged roads, bridges, which may be unsafe now. Get first aid if you are injured. And if someone needs to be rescued, call professionals with the right equipment. They will come and they will rescue the people. Try to help small children, elderly people, and people with disabilities because they need more help from you. Avoid disaster areas, otherwise you may be put to further risk from the after effects of floods, cyclones, etc. Avoid disaster areas, otherwise you may be put to further risk from the after effects of floods and cyclones. Sometimes some buildings may sink or collapse due to these tsunamis. So stay out of buildings if it is surrounded by water. And better to wear long pants and long sleeve shirts and also shoes. The most common injury following a disaster is cut feet. Feet are cut because of this tsunami water and all. And use battery powered lanterns or flashlights while examining the building, as they are the safest ones. And make sure that the building is not in danger of collapsing. Check if there are any cracks in the foundation of the building. Now check for fire hazards. There may be leaking gas lines, flooded electrical circuits, submerged electrical appliances. Fire is the most frequent hazard following floods. So take all the precautions to check carefully. And also check carefully if poisonous snakes enter the building with water. And open the windows and doors so that the building will dry up. Now, drought. Drought is basically a natural disaster because it occurs due to lack of rainfall. So it is a natural disaster. The deficiency in rainfall is defined as if there is deficiency in rainfall and due to deficiency of rainfall the drought occurs, it is called as meteorological drought. And in a year, suppose in a year there is normal rainfall and there is wide gap between two consecutive spells of rain. It also results in crop failure and it is termed as agricultural drought. I hope you understood. Due to deficiency in rainfall, if drought occurs, it is called as meteorological drought. And if there is normal rainfall in a year and there is a wide gap between two consecutive spells of rain, it also results in crop failure and it is termed as agricultural drought. So, thus, the distribution of rainfall are important for occurring of drought. Excess or deficient rainfall is determined by the percent variation from the average rainfall of 70 to 100 years as follows. Excess rainfall means average rainfall plus 20% or more of the average rainfall. Normal rainfall plus 19% to minus 19% of the average rainfall. It is called as normal rainfall. And deficient means minus 20% to minus 59% of the average rainfall. It is termed as deficient rainfall. Scanty means minus 60, scanty means very less, minus 60% or less of the average rainfall. It is termed as scanty rainfall. And certain regions, due to their geographical location, they are more likely to receive less rainfall. And these are called drought-prone areas. For example, in Andhra Pradesh, Rayalaseema is drought-prone district. For example, in Rayalaseema and Telangana regions also, the probability of drought occurrences is twice in every 5 years. In every 5 years, twice or thrice they have to face drought conditions. Now, impact of drought. There is the impact of drought, scarcity of drinking water. Because of drought conditions, there will be scarcity of drinking water, fall in water tables, groundwater tables, decline in crop acreage. That means agricultural productivity will decrease, fall in employment in the agriculture sector. More people will lose their employment and their source of livelihood due to slowdown of agricultural activity. There will be fall in purchasing power of those who are engaged in agriculture because there is no agricultural activity. They will not have money in their hands, so purchasing power decreases. Scarcity of food grains because there is no production, scarcity of food grain, scarcity of fodder, and loss of cattle life. Many cattle die due to drought conditions, and malnutrition, especially among children, and ill health and spread of diseases like diarrhea, dysentery or cholera, and ophthalmia caused by starvation, and distress sale and mortgage of land. People resort to mortgage of land, jewelry and personal property because they don't have money in their hand. They resort to mortgage of land, jewelry and personal property, and migration of people in search of employment. All these are impacts of drought conditions. Now, how to cope with the drought? Unlike sudden disasters, drought, it is a slow onset disaster. When it occurs, we cannot say how long it will be occurring. Gives us ample time because it is not a sudden disaster. It gives us enough time for preparing ourselves to face the drought conditions and also to respond to the drought conditions. It is a slow onset disaster, so it gives us enough time for preparing ourselves to face the drought conditions. And early warning enables timely action by decision makers at all levels. If early warning of a drought condition is given, then it will help the decision makers at all levels to take some preventive measures. In areas that are normally affected by drought, government and non-governmental organizations, that is NGOs, local officials and other key players have taken the initiative to bring in awareness on water conservation strategies because due to lack of rainfall only the drought occurs mostly. So, in such areas, the government organizations and also the non-governmental organizations, NGOs, local officials, they have taken the initiative to bring awareness among the people on water conservation strategies, how to conserve water. Now, rainwater harvesting. In urban areas, all rainwater as it falls over roofs of houses, it should be harvested. Rainwater should be harvested by sending them through pipelines, and then digging pits also. We can make digging pits and soaking pits, and in those pits also we can harvest the rainwater. The easiest thing is to divert it into soak pits for recharging of groundwater. If we collect the rainwater into soak pits, it will get recharged as groundwater. And the rainwater may also be stored in tanks which are built for this purpose. By building some tanks for the purpose of storing rainwater, the rainwater can be harvested. And in certain places, with simple filtering, rainwater can be the best source of drinking water. By filtering, we can use it as the best because it is very fresh water. It can be used as drinking water also. Watershed development. The government is implementing Integrated Watershed Management Program IWMP in drought-prone areas. To reduce the impact of droughts, the government is implementing Integrated Watershed Management Program. And the main objective of this program is to enable the people to plan for proper utilization of natural resources. Here we are talking about water. Natural resource means water. How to make use of water in a proper way. That is the main objective of this program. The main objective of this IWMP is to enable people to plan for proper utilization of natural resources like water and land. And also the main activities include harvesting rainwater in the fields, and also afforestation, growing forests, and promotion of crops, trees which require less water. That means drought-resistant crops must be grown. Promotion of crops and trees that require less water and alternative livelihoods. Now, check your water use by answering the questionnaire and find out whether you are a water hero or villain. See in the table, the last column is left over for you, and here some ranking is also given, and depending on that ranking, you just first fill in the blanks in the table, and that means how much water you are using for brushing teeth, cleaning vegetables, dishwashing, flushing. So all that you fill in, and then you find out your ranking, whether you are saving water or you are wasting water, whether you are a water hero, water saver or water villain. You find out. Now, detecting tsunamis. Tsunamis can be detected with the help of satellite technology. With the use of satellite technology, it is possible to provide nearly immediate warning of earthquakes, tsunami earthquakes. We can provide an immediate warning of tsunami earthquakes by using satellite technology. Warning time depends upon the distance of the epicenter from the coastline. And the warning includes the time at which the tsunamis are predicted. The warning includes predicted times at selected coastal communities, in which coastal areas they are going to take place and what is the predicted time. That also is included in the warning, where the tsunamis could travel in a few hours. So in which coastal areas they are going to affect, and the time at which they are going to take place, that is also predicted, and it can be given as a warning to the people. And coastal tidal gauges can stop tsunami close to the shore, but they are useless in deep ocean. If these tidal waves, tsunamis are close to the shore, it is shallow area, and in shallow area they can stop the tsunamis close to the shore, but they are useless in deep oceans. And tsunami detectors, when they are linked to land by submarine cables, they are deployed 50 odd kilometers out at sea. And tsunameters transmit warnings of buoys on the sea surface which relay it to satellites. And thus tsunamis can be detected, and a prior warning, immediate warning can be provided to the people living in coastal areas using satellite technology. Now the lesson is over. I am giving you homework. Read full lesson, underlining all the key points and complete the blanks in the material.